Okay friends, if you are seeing this video, that means the new Fantasy Cosmetica palette and collection has been shown. So if you want to see two eye looks, then just keep watching. If you guys are new to my channel, welcome. My name is KARENHARRIS. I like to film tan girl friendly makeup videos here on YouTube. I do post quite often, so highly recommend subscribing, turning on that bell so you're notified every time I post, and without further blabbering, let's get into it. Okay friends, so you've already seen the inside of the Wizard collection from Fantasy Cosmetica. I'm so excited. I believe I said in my 2023 eyeshadow palette ranking video that I'm so excited to see what this brand does next, and let me tell you, just based off of the swatches, they did not disappoint me at all. This is such a beautiful palette. I cannot wait to play with this. I did swatch everything. So let's go ahead and get into the info. A wizard has joined your party. Wizards are spellcasters and researchers who study for many years to learn magic. They spend their lives reading and collecting books, compiling knowledge to better understand the world around them. This collection is launching on February 16th at 9 a.m. PST. The Wizard collection includes an eyeshadow palette, a highlighter palette, and a perfume. The palettes are magnetic and the eyeshadows will be sold as singles. These products are vegan, were not tested on animals, made in China, and shipped from Redmond, Washington. The palette will retail for $38.99. The highlighter palette is going to be $29.99. The single matte shadows will be $4.99. Single, duo, or multi-chrome shadows will be $9.99. And then the single holochrome shadow, $18.99. Okay, so if you guys are seeing these swatches, look at that holochrome shade. It's absolutely stunning. I did film a clip of it on my iPhone. I'll try and insert that for you guys somewhere as well. But I feel like holochromes, you just have to see them in person. They're absolutely incredible. Also, I'm just loving the depth of this palette, so I cannot wait to see what I can create with it. Next is the highlighter palette. It is definitely a little bit out of my comfort zone. I'm not really sure how I'm going to pair it yet, but it is beautiful. I think if you love pink purple highlighters, you're going to love this. I also love the size of the packaging. I think they've just done such a good job. And then last but certainly not least is the Wizard perfume that is inspired by laying in the grass and admiring the night sky. It is a refreshing grass and wood scent with citrus accents. The fragrance is made in Redmond, Washington, and the bottles are hand painted. Now, I typically am not a big fragrance gal, but I do love citrus fragrances. So when I got the email about this collection and I read the description, I was like, hey, wait a minute, I might actually really like that fragrance. And so I did ask for it. And if you ever wonder what I like to smell like, this fragrance is it. It is a very masculine, very fresh fragrance. I did spray it on before I started filming this video because I wanted to see how long it would last. So I've had it on for probably under an hour so far, and I just sprayed it on my wrist and I can still smell it. I don't own every single fragrance from Fantasy Cosmetica, but this is by far my favorite one that I have, and I'm so glad that I decided to ask for this one. So there is a $2.29 1 ml coconut oil based sample that they can ship worldwide. Same with the 10 ml for $16.99. And then available within the continental US is the 10 ml alcohol-based spray for $16.99, and then the 30 ml alcohol-based spray is $32.99. So if I was going to purchase, I could totally see myself getting this in a full size because it's so good, and I love that she does these like spray bottles now. So I just love this fragrance. It is definitely one of those I just got out of the shower, like very fresh fragrances. So this perfume is definitely a favorite for me. I can already tell. Okay, friends, so I hope you enjoyed all of that info. Like I said, this collection is launching on the 16th. I am an affiliate of the brand, so if you want to use my code KHMAKEUP, you absolutely can. it'll save you on their website. Okay, so I'm going to create with this row of purples right here, and I grabbed my Unearthly brush. By the way, I think I mentioned in one of my videos that I don't know if they've always done this, but they're selling this green brush set as singles. And so I bought 4 of these. I'm so excited because I only have one right now, and I've literally been just like using my Sigma switch to clean it, and I'm like, why am I suffering? Also, I don't know how long Unearthly will have them available as singles, so I was like, let me just stock myself up. I mean, I don't always consistently stick to the same brushes, but I have such a love for the shape and the thickness of this brush, so I did grab it. Another thing too I noticed is the Sigma Ignite eyeshadow primer is back in stock. It was out of stock for a while, so if you wanted to try it. Why am I making all these announcements? I don't know. Sometimes I forget to tell you guys stuff, and so while it's on my mind, I want to tell you guys. This is such a pretty purple. I feel like I'm a little bit weird about proportions, not portions. And I feel like I already messed this side up, but I feel like I'm just being like hypercritical of myself, so I'm not gonna keep pointing it out, but it's bothering me already. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I want like a fluffy flat brush, and I'm gonna go into the shade called Incantation. It's like a really pretty periwinkle shade, and I love the contrast in this palette so much because I'm always like, oh, I wish there was a light shade, I wish there was a dark shade. I feel like they made this one for me. So thank you to the owner of Fantasy Cosmetica for making this palette for me. I'm kidding, guys. That was a joke. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the color story. But I don't think she just made this palette for me, obviously. I was just being silly. So I want to use a holochrome shade on my lid, but I also might pop on a little bit of the shade called Conjuration. It's like a baby blue on the inner corner, but let's try Gravature. I don't know how to say it. Let's try the holochrome shade. I'm already hungry and ready for lunch, and it's 10:16, but in my defense, I usually just have like brunch because when I wake up in the morning, I'm just like in survival mode with the kids, and I have like no desire to try and eat while I'm also dealing with trying to get them to eat. So I usually eat a very early lunch. Why am I telling you these things? I don't know, because I'm a real person and I have a life and I like to talk about it with my friends online. Okay, I feel like this shade would have really thrived on like a darker backdrop, like if I had put more of the deep shade, but I'm going to concentrate it kind of towards the back or like the outer part of my eyelid, and then I'm going to go into that shade called Conjuration. I'm just going to flip my brush that I used in the holochrome shade, and I'm just going to pop a little bit of that blue on the inner portion of my eyelid. See, that holochrome shade is so pretty that I feel like this blue, even though it's also really pretty, is just not as superior. But honestly, I think I needed it because I wanted like a little bit of lightness there. So we're just blending the two together. And I'm going to take this pencil brush from Beaute, and it's got a little bit of a thicker set of bristles to it. So I'm just stamping on the shade. I'm gonna grab a pencil brush from Sigma and I'm gonna go into this middle shade called Meteor Storm. It looks like a really light gold shade, but it has like a ton of green sparkles in it. So I'm just gonna give it a spray and tuck it right here into the inner corner. Give it a little sparkle. So the look is done. I'm gonna put on eyeliner and mascara once I get off camera, but first I want to try out the highlighter palette. So I decided to be bold, and I think pink and purple pair really nicely together. So I grabbed one of the brightest pink blushes I have. This is Lucky from Rare Beauty, and they did send me this, so hold on to your horses. I just need to find my Singe. This is the FO3, I believe. Yep. And I'm just gonna put a little bit of this on the back of my hand because I'm scared, and I'm just gonna see how pigmented we are talking about. Pretty pigmented, so just gonna gently apply that. And you know what I realized the other day? I've been reaching for all my powder blushes because I moved my powder blushes into my packs drawers, but I had left my cream blushes in a drawer in my filming desk, and I don't want to say I completely forgot about them, but I had kind of forgotten about them. And I was like, oh yeah, I should probably mix it up. I can't just only use my powder blushes. So that's why you're seeing my Rare Beauty blush come out. This side, I think I went a little too much onto my actual cheek. I like to keep my blush kind of further back, so I'm just going to hit it with my Singe Beauty sponge. And I think we're ready. I think we're ready to go with the highlighters. So, ooh, I don't know which shade. I think I might use the shade, should I mix? Let's see if I can show you both, and then I'll mix the lighter one on top. So let's start off with Whirlwind, which is this middle pink shade right here. This is more of that shadow that has like that blue reflect to it. So I think actually it would pair perfectly with this look. Can you see the purpley shift? It looks pink, but it has like a really pretty purpley shift to it. That is so pretty. Okay, am I being a little excessive? Maybe, but it's kind of fun. Okay, I think I'm actually just gonna leave it because I don't want it to be too wild and crazy. So I'm just gonna leave it like that. But yeah, that is that highlighter in Whirlwind. So I'm gonna spray my face, mascara, the works, do something with his hair, and I'll be right back to show you the first look. Okay, friends, so here is the first look. What do we think? Let me know down in the comments. If you like this purple look, I am wearing a Fantasy Cosmetica lipstick. This is the shade Hidden from their Lost Libraries collection. It's a super beautiful kind of mauve-y, browny lip shade, so I thought it would be nice with this kind of got a lot going on eye look. So yeah, let me know what you think, and let's go ahead and roll into a second look. Okay guys, it's time for look number 2. I'm so excited. I wanted to give you guys more than one option with this palette. Say a little prayer, but I'm just gonna grab a blending brush, a fluffy one, and go into the shade called Spellbook, and I'm just gonna press this onto my lid and just blend it into the crease. It's a little bit of a lighter shade than what I would like. I think I would like a more neutral brown shade, but it is what it is. So I'm just blending this into my eyelid and my crease. My eye is a little bit stained from the eye look I did previously, but I do have eyeshadow primer on, so I should be able to cover it up. And I did take off the highlighter as well, but I think there's just a little bit My studio guest is also here, so if you hear her, she says hi. Okay, so I'm gonna grab a kind of flat fluffy brush and go into the shade called Meteor Storm. Right here, it's like a really pretty green gold shimmer shadow. I'm just gonna put it all over my lid. Wow, that is such a simple look, but I think it's so pretty at the same time. And then I'm just gonna do like a blue liner moment, so give me a second while I look for a brush. Okay, so I grabbed this Sigma E06. It's their like gel liner brush, but I'm gonna use it with powder. So I'm gonna go into the shade called Telepathy. I usually like to follow the natural line of my eye. Okay, so now I'm just gonna try and throw some blue right along the lash line, like how I would do this with a regular eyeliner. Just wanted to do something a little bit different than what I always do. I know it's not the most like colorful, over the top look, but I wanted to find another way that I could use this palette, show you guys as well. So yeah, it's cute, it's simple. It kind of reminds me of the look I did with the Sigma Disney Beauty and the Beast palette. So I'm just gonna do it on this eye, throw something in the lower lash line, finish up the under eye, and I'll be right back to try out another one of the highlighters. Okay friends, so I'm almost done with the look. I did throw on the Rare Beauty blush in the shade Encourage. It's like a neutral shade, so I thought it would pair well with the purpley highlighter because that's the one I want to use with this look. And I'll tell you what lip I have on as well. These highlighters are so blinding. And I did put a little bit of the eyeshadow in my brow bone too, so I'm like extra glittery. Not glittery. Extra glowy. That's the right word. So let me know what you think. I am wearing the Fantasy Cosmetica lipstick in the shade Unearthly. This is a really pretty orangey lip, so I love this formula of their lipsticks. It's so creamy and it feels nice and hydrating as well, so I do enjoy that. Other than that, for foundation today, I'm wearing the Laura Mercier Real Flawless Weightless Perfecting Foundation, and my concealer is the L'Oreal True Match Serum Concealer, which I've really been enjoying. So yeah, that is look number 2. Now let's go ahead and talk about the collection. So I want to start off with the highlighter palette. I think this is so cute. I am not a big fan of colorful highlighters, but these ones are very nice. I think they would also make really pretty inner corner shades or eyeshadows, and also really beautiful toppers on bright blushes. This purple shade is so pretty. It has some plummy sparkles in it, so it looks about as natural as a purple highlighter can on my tan skin tone. But yeah, this is actually a really beautiful palette, and I want to do a look where I pair one of the shimmers in this palette with the eyeshadows. Next, let's go ahead and talk about the perfume. Now, I have done videos on every single palette that Fantasy Cosmetica has launched, and I think they started with Bard, right? The fragrances started with Bard. I haven't smelled every single one, and usually I decline the fragrances in PR because I just don't wear fragrances that often, and I have so many, and they're a small indie brand, so I don't want to take their inventory away if it's not something I'm going to use up. So I usually decline the fragrances, and like I don't burn candles in my house, so I declined the candles they launched with the Lost in Libraries collection. But when I read the description for this fragrance, I was like, that's something I might actually like. I've been hearing so many people review their fragrances and saying how much they love them, so I was very, very curious about this one. And honestly, I feel like I did a good job picking one out based off of the description because this is like right up my alley. I feel like I've already talked your ear off about this, but it's a very fresh fragrance and I love it. I think it could definitely be a fall fragrance, but I could also see myself wearing it at the current time of year because we're kind of transitioning from winter to spring. So some days it's still pretty chilly. It's nice and gloomy outside today, so this is like the perfect transition fragrance in my opinion. So I really love the fragrance. I'm actually so surprised because I feel like I have a very particular set of fragrances that I'm attracted to, and like I said, if you ever want to know what I smell like, this is the kind of fragrance that I'm really into. Okay, last but certainly not least is the Wizard eyeshadow palette. I think this is such a fun color story. I don't know much about like wizards in board games or video games or anything like that, but I think this is a very magical palette. I love these dark shades down here. This I think is a multi-chrome, the shade Divination. It's like a beautiful blue purpley shade. I didn't get to use that one and I didn't get to try Curiosity, but I did try the rest of the shades in the palette, and I think this is a beautiful cohesive palette. I am very interested to see how people use the shade Spellbook. I think that's pretty much a brow bone shade for my complexion, but these palettes are magnetic, so we could mix and match. I could pull this out and bring something else in. That's the one shade that kind of throws me off, but obviously I'm not everybody, so I'll be curious to hear other people's reviews on the palette. But other than that, I love it. We've got 2 light shades, we've got 2 deep shades, and the rest are gorgeous shimmers. So I think this is so fun. I think you could take this shade called Meteor Storm and also pair it with some of the colorful matte shades, which I feel like I should have done with my first look. But anyway, it was fun to mix and match and try this palette. I just think it's really, really well balanced. So I am very, very happy with it. I love the 9-pan palettes from Fantasy Cosmetica. I love that they keep the theme going throughout the brand and that they can still find inspirational ways to make the 9-pan color story work for them. So I feel like I've said everything I want to say. So this collection is launching on February 16th at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. Like I mentioned at the start, I do have an affiliate code with Fantasy Cosmetica. It's KHMAKEUP and you will save some money on their site. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Also, if you could leave me a comment, it is a free way to support my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in another video very, very soon. Bye!